On a hot June night in 1969, a routine police raid of the popular gay bar at the Stonewall Inn sparked the fire that fueled the first wave of the gay rights movement. 50 years later, the events that surrounded that night continue to inspire all to fight for equality. It is with that same passion that New York City's LGBT Community Center and Google have teamed up to find, preserve, and share many still untold stories and footage of the riots in a new project aptly named Stonewall Forever. Joining me now with some details to talk about all this and to help 13 celebrate the summer of '69 is Jeff Klein, Chief Strategy Officer at New York City's LGBT Community Center, and William Floyd, the Director of Public Policy and Public Affairs at Google. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
This is a fascinating initiative that you have all put together. And I want to get to the details in a moment. But to set the stage for this, for perhaps some younger viewers out there, people not that familiar with what happened 50 years ago, give us a snapshot, if you will, of what happened that night, as I said, 50 years ago, how it all played out, and then we can talk about the consequences. One of you, Jeff, you want to jump in?
Sure. So Stonewall riot was a hot evening in June in 1969, and police raided the Stonewall Inn, a bar in the West Village that was a safe space for the LGBT community. Folks would gather there, and that was a place where they could go and be themselves and celebrate their own identities and meet each other. And the bar was raided, and people were arrested, and the community said, that's enough. We're not going to take this anymore. It was frequent at the time that
and that was the unique thing about it, because those raids were...
It was a regular raid.
It was a regular raid, and normally people knew how to act when the police came in. And what was defining or extraordinary about this moment was that the patrons of the bar said, no.
Enough.
Yeah, enough. And it turned into a 3 or a 4 day melee, actually.
And important to note, because again, some people not familiar with it might be saying, well, why are the police raiding it? That homosexual activity was criminal at the time. And again, we're only talking about 50 years ago. And again, before we get to what's going on, the initiative here, and I want to talk about your organization too, we've mentioned before that it was the beginning, sparked 6 days worth of protests and indeed worth of riots. And we've often heard people say that this was, if not the pivotal moment in the gay rights movement, it was certainly one of them. Why would you think that would be, each of you? And William, you first.
It was definitely a catalyst for the movement, which had been growing before Stonewall. There were a number of community organizations that were bubbling up, like the Mattachine Society, that was fighting for LGBT equality. But this defiant act really was a catalyzing moment for everyone in the city and around the world who were also engaging in this activity. And I think it's important to say that it wasn't just those several days of riots. What happened after that was equally important. It actually spawned a year's worth of very concerted, very public protests that ultimately, a year later, on the anniversary of the riots, sparked the very first gay rights parade.
So let's talk about
Which
now.
We call Pride now.
Pride,
So.
Pride, exactly. And it's nice that we've made that progression to get to Pride, considering that it was just 50 years ago when it was criminal conduct. So let's talk about Stonewall Forever. How did it come about? Jeff, start.
So Stonewall Forever is a really exciting project to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the riots. And Google and the center, we are very close neighbors, being only a few streets away down in the village. And so it's a perfect marriage of the center's community connection and our national LGBT archive, containing artifacts and materials and different ephemera from decades of LGBT life in New York City and different folks who've contributed, and Google's technology and scale to reach people across the globe. And as we were talking, right, Pride has become June. June is Pride Month. And that's not just in New York City, that's all over the world. And so the ability to take something that happened physically in New York at a place in the streets of New York City, but has had a ripple effect across the globe, without our organizations partnering together, wouldn't really be possible in the way it is.
Why Google? I mean, Google, I assume, being the organization that it is, I'm sure a lot of groups and organizations and causes come to Google and say, we'd like to partner with you. Why this partnership?
Well, as Jeff said, it really was kind of a perfect marriage. First and foremost, they are our neighbors and one of our strategic community partners. We've had a long history of volunteerism between our employees and the center. But more importantly, we saw a really important opportunity here. It was around the designation of the monument, which was, a very big thing back in 2016, and also our ability through technology to help disseminate that information about what happened that night. We thought this was a good opportunity to show not only how technology can work for everyone, but also can tell a really compelling story about a community whose history is kind of lost. And as you know, that's part of our mission, to disseminate information and make it accessible to everyone.
So what is the project designed to gather up, to allow Stonewall to remain forever?
So the project is part archive, part storytelling platform and medium, and also part augmented reality. It weaves together a lot of seemingly disparate bits of information, oral histories from people who were there at the night of the riots, pride memorabilia from the very first march. It also puts together archival material like diaries and posters, stories that were, up until this point, lost. And most importantly, and this is the thing I think is really exciting, it also incorporates current user-generated information. So it allows people now to contribute their story to the monument.
I was going to ask you that. If somebody was watching this conversation we're having and saying, I was there, or my friend or my partner was there, I know some stories about it, how do they do that?
They can do it one of two ways. Given that Stonewall Forever exists online, it exists via your desktop or your laptop. It also exists on your phone via a free app. But it allows anyone, anywhere around the world, you don't have to actually be at the site, to explore the monument, learn about the night or those nights at Stonewall, learn how it had inspired 50 years of activism, and then it allows them to tell their own story about their fight for equality, be it a member of the community, somebody who was there back 50 years ago, or someone who wasn't there but who fights for transgender rights or for queer rights.
What sort of responses and reactions have you been getting to it?
They've been pretty incredible. I'll just talk about my own personal response, because we were just looking at the website and the app today. But it's pretty amazing, because as I said to you, part of it is a digital art project. So all of this information that we've been able to gather, and we hope to continue to gather, past this point, is all arrayed in augmented reality. So if you go to the app and you open it up, the app brings you actually to the site. And out of the site, you see these multicolored prisms. And as you touch the prisms open up and tell you a story. And it leads you on a very organic, non-linear discussion about what happened before the riots, what happened during the riots, and as I said, what happened those 5 decades after the riots, and how the community struggled for their equal rights.
And it's not just a presentation of some historical artifacts, which there's lots of ways to do that. It's really interactive. There's a way to feel like you're physically at the site, right? This is the first national park that includes the LGBT community as part of its story, and that's really significant. And yet lots of people can't attend, can't physically go there. So this is a chance to bring people to the park and for people to be there with the technology we have today and to engage with it.
Well, I think two things. It's one, as you both said, this is the right time and place. The technology is there to tell this story in a different way, a more effective and powerful way. And I think in looking at it and how you put it together, and you understand this, that great storytelling comes from people.
Yes.
You know, you can have historians tell it, and that's important. But to get people who have experienced something and to be able to share their experiences, you know, I think that is the essence of great storytelling. And certainly what you're doing is fulfilling that mission. Well, again, it's called Stonewall Forever. It's a magnificent project, and you and your organizations are doing great work. So, Jeff, William, thanks for spending some time with us and talking with us about it. We appreciate it. And congratulations on the work that you're doing. And for you folks out there, if you'd like to contribute your photos or memories from the Stonewall riots and afterward, please make sure you visit metrofocus.org for more details.